I swear Overcooked has now become its own genre. And Lumberhill is one of the latest. It's by All In Games. They made the excellent Tools Up, which I thoroughly recommend. And Lumberhill is their latest game. It's 1 to 4 players. It has cooperative as well as PvP mode. And the idea of this is that you are a lumberjack who then needs to chop down wood and put them into logging facilities, or herd animals into their pens. There'll be a variety of different animals and trees that you need to play with, and there will be some other tasks that you need to do along the way. But the idea is, throughout the main mode, is to work together to complete certain challenges within certain time periods. Challenges equal points, points equal stars. Get 1, 2 or 3 stars for each level to then be able to unlock further either characters and customization that way, or new levels as you go. You just need to get the 1 star to do that. So how does it all work? In the bottom left hand side of the screen there will be a star rating, and then next to that the different things that you need to do. So it might be collect 3 trees of a certain type, or herd up 5 sheep or pigs or pandas or dinosaurs, depending on which levels that you're on. And there'll be some weird nuance around how you do it. Some small animals like sheep, for example, and pigs you can pick up and run with and then jump over the different gaps around the different levels. Each level looks and feels different. And then you'll be able to like throw it either to someone else or to throw it in the pen. Other ones might need you to pick up, say like with the pandas, you've got some bamboo. One of the characters will need to pick up the bamboo, wave it and run around in front of the pandas, and then the small pandas will follow you around. But the key for that is to make sure that you've then got a path that you can walk them along. And what you might need to do before you can even get to that is to then cut down some trees to build the bridges to then be able to move the pandas across. Same for Triceratops, you'll be doing that with dragon fruit, picking up that and then making them kind of run down the road as you go. There are different tree types as well, and when you get to say like the Hawaii land, you'll also have things like fishing nets that you can go down and collect fish as well as you go. Now this all requires coordination, because the more people there are playing the game, the higher the scores are for that 1, 2 and 3 tier that you need to get to. And so if you aren't all focusing on either different tasks or working together to complete the one task, then that task has a time limit that goes down and it will disappear. So if you're busy herding one type of animal but you need, say, the sheep instead of a ram, then you're not going to score any points for all of that hard work that you do. Similarly, as you get through later and later levels, they become more complicated. So bridges will need to be built. You might have boats that require switches, or elevators that require switches to go up and down. So it could be that you all build and chuck logs or sheep or pigs or whatever onto the elevator, and someone plays with the switch just going back and forth and then offloading stuff, and then you've got someone else busy picking those up and chucking them into the butts where they need to be. It requires teamwork for you to be able to get to those 3 stars. What I was really pleased with though was when I was playing with it in single player, just to get used to the mechanics so that I could then introduce that to my friends as we went to then play online and via Steam Remote Play as well. I've tried both. The levels do actually scale up and down, but what I would say is that when I was playing online with randoms, we had one person that just stood there the entire experience. And did we hit 3 stars for anything? Hell no, because you need everyone working together and contributing to some degree. As the game gets more complicated, more and more things get in the way for you as well. And one of the biggest things with this is fire. There's weather in Lumberhill, and so as soon as there's a thunderstrike, something will catch fire, and so you'll need to get to buckets to be able to then put out the water. But some of the controls around this are a little bit clunky. You have one button for picking up and putting down something, and then another button for actually doing something. But the problem is for the buckets, it's all on the same button for no particular reason, so it feels odd that it's different for that one specific thing that you do, as if it's to cut you out. What I'll also say as well is that the levels are all bound by being very narrow on jump points, and they all filter into narrow closures for pens as well quite often. So what will happen is that you'll be running into your teammates quite often, and then falling off the map, which takes a few seconds for you to respawn and is funny at first but frustrating later on. I'll also say by the time you get to the dinosaur levels later on, some of the dinosaurs that are trying to eat you and get in your way feel overpowered, and it's at this point a single player experience starts to become a little bit too difficult for its own good, because you need someone to be being eaten by the dinosaur pretty much at all times so that the other players can then get the Triceratops or the wood out of the way so that you can actually score some blimmin' points. Because otherwise, there's always the dinosaur, the T-Rex is always chasing something. So someone's got to get eaten. Soz. I love the graphics. I found the music interesting, although I could have done with a bit more. I quite liked the Hawaii moments where the pirates came in as well as like a third party, so they would come around and chuck TNT onto the world and blow bits of it up, so you'd have to kind of run to the TNT, grab it and then throw it back off the world again and hope for the best. And I do like the fact that like there's dinosaurs or sharks in the water that will come to get you. There are contraptions that you need to push switches and you'll go back and forth and all of that. What I will say is that if you forget about fire, the whole thing will be in fire very, very quickly, and that is a bit annoying. Going online starts to exaggerate some of this annoyances, and it's around lag. So I've played online a few times with this game now with 3 other people making it a party of 4. Lag is horrific. And it makes it quite difficult to do some of the platforming elements of jumping over stones and things like that, which is a shame because it feels woolly-ish but forgiving when you're playing locally with other people. But as soon as you go online, it's just a bit too woolly for its own good, and it's very tight on its paths and level design, so yeah, it kind of goes a little bit odds there. Outside of the co-op experience, which has got 5 different worlds, 10 levels in each, and plenty of fun to be had, there's also a PvP mode, and what this does is it pits some people up against people trying to complete tasks. So it will like put you in the ram's position, for example, so you can go and like butt people out of the way so that they can't actually do what they need to do. And that's a nice way of putting in competition into things rather than it always being like co-op against the score. So I quite like that idea. And as you go through the game itself, every level has 3 different stars. These unlock various characters and customizations for your character. But there's also like a silver axe bonus thing that's quite helpful as well, and that allows you to unlock customizations for all of the different animals that you've got running around. So that you can maybe paint some of the dinosaurs or pigs or something like that in a different colour, so that you can choose those too. All in all, I really quite like Lumberhill. I think some people will find that it will get repetitive a bit quickly because what it introduces at the beginning in the first couple of levels rarely changes, but it's more about everything else in the world around you getting in the way. You're having to manage that while still doing the same couple of basic tasks over and over again. I hope that the online side of things gets a little bit more lag-free and less woolly, perhaps over time. That might have just been down to the people's that I was playing connection at the time, though. But yeah, I think this is a good clone for the Overcooked world. I think Tool Up is better, but it's also more complicated. So if you want something that's a little bit more straightforward and easy to grasp, then Lumberhill should probably be the one for you. If you want something where you've got a variety of different tasks and they're much more complicated to complete, then Tool Up is probably the best of the all-in games for you to go for. Written review will be over on highplanegames.com. Hope that was informative. Got any comments or questions? Leave them down below. Cheers. Higher Plane Games is part of the Higher Plane Network, a completely independent media outlet supported by people like you. The goal is to create the best possible content that cultivates a richer indie scene for games as well as music and entertainment. To find out more and to get involved, visit patreon.com/higherplane network. Your support makes all the difference, and in return you'll gain access to bonus content and downloads. Thank you for watching.